Well, hello everyone, and a happy Sunday to you. I am back from my wonderful vacation. I had a lovely friend staying with me for a few days, and we got to tour Oregon. It was beautiful. Last time she came to visit, we had gotten to see the coast. So this time, on our vacation, we decided to go into Central Oregon, the Cascades, Hood River. We visited the Warm Springs Reservation, bought some beautiful jewelry from the people at Warm Springs. They were very gracious. It was a very nice vacation. And I'm glad to be back. Glad to see everybody. So before we get started, I'm just going to say a quick hello to everybody that was kind enough to join me today. I'm going to turn up the sound here. Yeah, sound is good. Let's give gratitude. First to Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome. Marie Ramirez. Hello. Catherine Lane. Welcome. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining membership. Hi, Georgine. Good to see you. Wholesome Girl. Hello. Gay Gillette. Welcome. Kay Gillette. Welcome to the house. The face painter is here. Greeter TK. Thank you for being our moderator. Debbie K in the house. Hello. Beth M. Welcome. Miss P. Martins is in the house. Cardomancy Mesquite, Alice Robbins, welcome. Jackie, welcome. Marie Cologne, welcome. We'll keep saying hi to people as we go along. Good to see you, Ana Macedo. So how is everybody doing? How is everybody enjoying their beautiful weekends? Has everybody been doing their planting? Have they been taking care of themselves, planting all those? Finally, I planted some stuff about 2 weeks ago. Finally, I'm starting to see it come up. I'm extremely, extremely impatient. So I'm happy to see stuff coming up. Dr. Whimsy attracts the Maries. Okay. Thank you, Susan Lind, Psychic Medium, for being in the house and volunteering to moderate. I do appreciate that. And thank you, Douglas, as well, for moderation. So, how is everybody? Has everybody been having a good week? I guess we're kind of all steering clear of politics because the spring is in the air, and so we're kind of moving more towards, I don't know, kind of like an expansive energy. Everybody's focusing on being out in the world. The sap is flowing. How can we, I don't know, be better citizens of the world? I think that's what people are thinking about. I've been asked to talk a little bit about the continuing education courses that I offer privately. HCRV, the first class we did was Saturday at 6 p.m. I didn't know if that time worked for everybody. This weekend, I'd announced that I wouldn't be teaching. I'm sorry if you didn't get the announcement. I should have probably posted it because I had been away. I could teach HCRV today at 6 p.m. if you guys want to do a catch-up class. We could do it live today at 6 because I did not teach yesterday. I'm completely okay with that. If you are in HCRV and you want to take a class today, we can go ahead and do that. Or Tuesday at 6 p.m. I'm going to be teaching Tuesday at 6 p.m. Today is good? Okay, I will be teaching HCRV class 2 today at 6 p.m. to make up for the class we missed. If you can't attend that, no worries. There'll be another class on Tuesday, which will be class 3. In order to get a certificate, I'd like you to turn in homework for 10 classes. That would get you certified that you had 10 classroom hours. That's HCRV 1. Class today, we're going to have 2 targets, not 3, not 4, just 2 targets. We're going to have 1 physical location and 1 person randomly selected by the computer. Everything will be double blind. The reason I'm only doing 2 today is because we have a 30-minute lecture on helping people with the technique. I threw everybody in last week and I just had you doing the technique. Today, we're going to stop and spend 30 minutes lecturing on to help with precision. Okay. So does that help everybody that's in the class? Okay. This channel is a public channel. Nothing's changed. The only reason why I didn't do a couple extra videos last week is because I went on vacation. I was exhausted, but people are upset about the joint. Again, it's just for people that want to get a certificate for HCRV, or they want to hang out and do a couple, I don't know, fun things with the other classes. There's also an elders for people who are interested in naturopathic medicine, herb making, etc. So nothing has changed. It's just if you want to take classes in natural medicine, and then you can take them with me. I may eventually teach Udemy because I was asked to do so. What right now I'm just trying to learn how to teach it. And this is the pioneer class, right? Because we're all in this together. And I think so we're kind of co-creating the class, HCRV, Livette Colombo. 6 p.m. tonight will be class 2. You can jump in anytime. I just ask that you do 10 assignments in order to get certified. And I'll have the computer randomly select the targets like it did last time. I also wanted to say there are 185 students. I have 185 students. So let's all work together and have it be a great class. Let's see what we can do with this as a community, and let's try and help people. Sound good? I guess we're all teaching it together, right? We're all coming together and we're going to be sharing our experiences. And now in 10 years, if we build an institute, then we can start charging. Now we're just figuring it out. So that's why we're only charging a couple bucks because, yeah, we're just learning. All right. HCRV is heart-centered remote viewing. It's a technique where you focus on the sensations in your body in response to a target, and that's how you get information. That's what HCRV is. Is everybody ready for the remote views? They're fun and they're not political. I don't know why. Hi, Connie Brown. Good to see you. All right. So last night I was doing a meditation and I thought, okay, it's Saturday night. Usually on Saturday night, I do a remote viewing. We've been doing this now over 2 years, getting together on Sundays. So my tradition is on Saturday, I'll do a nice little meditation, listen to some mantras, and then I'll try and do some remote viewing so that I can come in bright and early on Sunday, start documenting everything. I read the news. I read the New York Times. I read the Washington Post. This is my Sunday, right? Prepping for the show, prepping to get together with all of you. And last night, because we'd been driving and we had come through the reservation, had all these great experiences, met these amazing people. I didn't get back until late last night. So I just turned on YouTube and I was watching SNL, Saturday Night Live. I was watching Saturday Night Live videos. And then after watching Saturday Night Live videos, I decided to do a meditation, do a remote viewing. Congratulations on the first shot, Linda. So as I went into my remote view, thinking, okay, where's the universe going to take me on this remote view? The remote view took me to standing back and objectively looking at the energy of Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live was the target. And as I was stepping back and looking at Saturday Night Live objectively, what I found is that it existed kind of energetically. Its function was to get people to laugh and to alleviate stress. So when you looked at it objectively as somebody doing a heart-centered remote viewing, it looked like you had cast and writers and producers and script people and comedians and musicians and assistant directors and assistant producers, and all these people came together and gave everything they could to manifest laughter, to bring laughter, and to alleviate suffering. So the function of a comedian spiritually, if you think about meditation and thinking about the function of comedy, is to help people alleviate suffering. So from a Jewish perspective, if you're looking at like Hasidic Judaism or some of the traditions in the Jewish culture, for example, the comedian was seen as somebody who was kind of like a saint, and well, not a saint, but somebody who had a sacred role to play. Actors, if you were an actor that was entertaining people, the function was to bring joy to people. Same with being a comedian. And if you look at what life was like in the shtetls and ghettos of Europe, and how just historically how people have suffered, most of their lives are spent in drudgery, working. The fact that they can go and spend 2 hours being entertained by minstrels or entertainers or something like that was considered a great, great gift to the world. And it was kind of interesting to do the meditation last night on Saturday Night Live because they'd been producing that show since the 70s. And so they had so the karma of the show, you think about the laughter, how much joy and laughter karmically they have given the world, that there's power in that. The ability to get people to laugh, to take them away from their troubles, to have them forget the difficulties of their lives, even for an hour, is something really, really powerful. And it was something that I really enjoyed meditating on that last night. And I really felt a sense of gratitude to the show, the cast, creators, the people that come together, I wrote, to create the show that brings laughter to millions of people, the karma that they have created. And just taking a moment to be aware of the comedians, actors, etc. on the show, and do they consciously realize the impact that they've had on the lives of so many people, simply because they're trying to be the best comedians that they can be and trying to bring the best humor they can to the world. So I thought that that was just kind of a nice meditation. It's not a political meditation, but it was a meditation that made me think, wow, we just take it for granted, right? We just take it for granted that, hey, you're going to be there at 11:30 on Saturday because we all grew up with the show, and you're going to entertain us, and we're going to laugh, and we expect it. We almost demand it. You know, like we demand this, and we demand it for free, and we don't necessarily have the appreciation. Hi, baby. You gonna come say hi to people? We don't always appreciate what others do for us. It was just kind of nice to take a moment and think, wow, I appreciate you. I really deeply appreciate everyone who's been a cast member, everyone who's been a writer for the show or has contributed, because you have alleviated my suffering many times. There have been many times when I was down, depressed, feeling alone, having problems, however, and then I was able to turn the TV on and just laugh my head off for an hour. And that's an hour of joy they gave me, and they didn't ask anything in return of me. It was something they just wanted to give me. And to see a group of people come together collectively with one intent, to get me and other people to feel joy and laughter. That is a very high, that's a great, in Hebrew we use, I don't know if there's an English word for this. That's why I keep thinking about the Hebrew. It's mitzvah, a good deed. If you do something good for the world, it's called a mitzvah. So it's considered a great mitzvah to entertain people, get them to laugh, and bring them joy. You know, when you have a big Jewish wedding, we always, we joke, if people are poor and they can't buy anything for the bride and groom, we always say, well, you better have good shtick. Good shtick. So when you have these big Jewish weddings, everybody knows that it's a big, big mitzvah. It's a great, good deed to dance and laugh with the bride and groom and to bring them laughter and joy. And so everyone's performing for them. They put kerosene on their hats, they light it on fire and dance. And they do all of this because they understand the spiritual importance of elevating and bringing joy to the bride and groom. So that was the meditation, not a political meditation, but simply a meditation on the spirituality of service and how entertainers, actors, musician, artists, not celebrity, which I'm opposed to. I think it's very toxic, actually. But the pure light of the Dharma of being an actor, the Dharma of being an entertainer. If you approach it with a pure light, a pure intent, which is to alleviate suffering, that is a sacred path. I mean, you look at someone like Linda G, right? She's an entertainer, she's a comedian, wonderful woman, wonderful reader. But the amount of suffering she alleviated, right, for all of us when we were going through the whole thing with 45, right? A lot of people didn't think that they could even get through the last 4 or 5 years if they didn't have Linda to get us to laugh, or Lena Rodriguez, or Revealing Light, or Tarot's Apprentice, or Rosie, or Violetta, all these amazing entertainers that helped me personally. And you, all the audience, we collectively came together as a community and we found one another and we laughed, a lot of laughs, right? We shared a lot of laughter together and we shared a lot of tears. Y'all got to see Dr. Whimsy cry a few times, and I felt your tears, right? As we all went through the last couple of years and are now trying to come out the other side. And it just really is something really to meditate about and to be grateful for all of us. And it's something also to think about, just to be a clear vision of how we can meditate on how we've impacted the lives of other people. How much laughter have we brought the world? Something really to think about. All right, so that was the first remote. How y'all feel about that? Kind of nice not to do a political subject, huh? But just something to meditate on, the wisdom of meditation, right? When we meditate, we're wiser. When we meditate, we connect with parts of ourselves that think some higher thoughts, right? All right, so, oh my God, I didn't know that about Violetta's mother. My sincere condolences. I'm sorry to hear that. So I think I love Carol Burnett. Carol Burnett's, I had a kind of a rough childhood, but boy, Carol Burnett got me through it, right? She's definitely somebody I love. We're going to go ahead now, and if there's no questions, I think we're going to go ahead and do the collective reading. Does that work for people? I think I need to get something from my nose. My nose is running. Excuse me, I'm going to get something from my nose. Thank you. All right, let's do the empath's prayer, and then we're going to go in and give a collective. And then, yeah, I loved Carolyn Harvey Korman. Yes. Let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer. Is everybody ready for the collective reading? Would y'all like to have a reading? Let's do it. Okay. First, the collective reading, and then I'll get to Jennifer Bing's question, but I'm going to go ahead and pin it so that people know what's coming. Okay. All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, for our families, for the community, for the planet, for the people we love, but even to help those we may have strife with. And together we say, Amen. Let's do this. All right, where we are at right now, as I had said in previous readings, we're now entering a time of high productivity. May is just industry. Every time I meditate on second half of April, the month of May, it's just workers of the world unite. May 1st, it's just industry, massive industry. You can see the base card, Ace of Wands coming in, new industry, right? So in a way I kind of had that premonition. I went on my last vacation, probably this, I took 3 days off, spring vacation, and I gotta tell you, being in the forest, I feel completely different. I feel so peaceful. But I knew coming out of that forest, leaving the Warm Springs Reservation, so beautiful. I was just like, after we left and we came around the Cascade Mountains and it was snowing, and I just thought, oh, I could live here. I could just never leave. And then I just knew what was coming, and what's coming is so much dang work, because there's so much work. There, to everything there is a season, and there's a time for a vacation. And remember how I had said to everybody, enjoy your time off. Please enjoy your time off, because it's going to come to an end sooner than you realize. And unfortunately, we have a very, very busy spring. It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work. Ace of Wands moving in, new jobs, new opportunities. If you are applying for work, now is the time to do it. There is a 7 of Cups moving in as the karma card. So a lot of us are still trying to figure out what we want to do when we grow up. My advice to people, if you don't know what to do when you grow up, is to just try everything. Be open, try everything, see what you love, see what sticks. The first card, where we are right now, look at this, benefactor. A lot of us are really wanting to contribute. We're coming out of our cocoon, and now we're entering into a time of really trying to balance our lives. This is a card that's associated with the sign of Libra, which seeks balance. It's about service, but it's also about balance. So it's kind of nice that people are entering into that time of work, productivity, taking care of ourselves, being balanced, serving others when we can. Nice cards coming out for us. And what is above us? Scholarship. A lot of us are learning. We're entering into a time of our lives where we're just fascinated by everything that's going on in the world. Science, art, music, medicine, spirituality. This is a community of incredibly curious people fascinated with how the world works. What we sit in or marinate in, star card. A lot of us are going to be doing some great work in the world. Look at that. Someone's calling. I won't be picking it up. And I'm sorry, I am going to have to turn the phone off. My apologies. I can't concentrate. I forgot to turn the phone off. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we're entering into new contract. I think a lot of us are going to be back at work probably in the next week or two. Look at that. 3 of Pentacles, which can be a 3-week period, new contracts, scholarship. Yeah, the vacations for people starting probably next week for most people. It's just there's a lot of production here. Also, this is a real estate card. If you're thinking of buying or selling homes, now is the time. A lot taking place in the real estate market. New beginnings in the spring. Yeah, it's all productivity and spring energy that we're seeing. What is around us, healings and new beginnings. A lot of us are going on diets. Diets don't work. Just eat cleaner. Don't do a diet. Just get rid of the junk and try not to eat at night. That's all you need to do. And a little bit of exercise. Hopes and fears are finances. The final outcome for us, mastery and work. It's the workers card, right? I knew it was going to be something like the workers card, like the master's card, because you can see the level of productivity here. These are all productivity cards. You can see. If you didn't get a vacation of any type, then I kind of feel bad for people because it's just so much going on. It's just so much boom, boom, boom. Like we saw when we were driving through Oregon, all the small towns were breaking open and a lot of the markets are opening up again. And yeah, high productivity, working on resources, stores. Yeah, it's all productive. Look, work. Work, work, work. It's a work card, workers card. How many of you didn't want to go back to work? I want to go back up to the mountains again. I don't know. I could get a job up. Maybe they'll hire me at Warm Springs or something. Go live on the reservation and meditate. Be a good life. That's right. No more cupcakes. Oh, well. So that is the collective. Basically, if you're looking for a job, you'll probably be getting a bite next week. Or if you're putting an application in next week, you'll probably get a bite soon after because boom, boom, boom. Ace of Wands was the base. And that's all new ventures, new work. 10 of Wands, carrying the load. 8 of Pentacles, mastery, making money. It's all work. It's all work cards. Not a lot of love cards this week. In fact, no love cards. Work, 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 work. A lot of teachers, if you are a teacher, will probably be preparing to teach summer school. I know if I was a parent, I would absolutely make my child take summer school for 2-3 months to catch up because the way that they were learning before just sounds like a nightmare. Well, Debbie, apply for the government jobs first. That's what I would do. I would, because I guess they're paying better than the private sector right now. But the private sector has already added close to 1 million jobs in April. So, yeah, it was fun while it lasted. You could say it was fun. Now we can say because it's. Thank you, Carol S. Thank you for that donation. It's much appreciated. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start the blitzes now. Ooh, someone's going to the Sadhguru Isha Foundation. Oh, that sounds very relaxing. Aaron B. Okay, I'm going to try and get to everybody's questions. We're going to start blitzing away, as people say, but we're going to start with Jennifer Bing. Jennifer Bing has the first question, and she writes, any insights on when the infrastructure bill will be passed? Let's take a look, Jennifer, and thank you for the question. A judgment is coming over the infrastructure bill. And there's a power card here. This is very good. These are both major arcana cards. So you have a clear judgment coming in, power. You have the Dreamer's card here, the Queen of Cups, and then the King of Swords, which is a card that's a worker's card. It's also a military card. It has to do also, it's also the Ice King. It corresponds with also the sciences to some extent, logic, reason, emotionalism. I'm not getting a timeline. If I didn't get a wand or a pentacle, which would have told me weeks or months. But I would go ahead and predict that it's probably going to pass relatively soon. It's going to be resolved because it's the karma of clear judgment. And again, that's a major arcana card. Returning back to things from the past or old loves, magician card. There is a feeling of nostalgia that's starting to come upon Congress, a desire to go back to cooperation, to working together, and also a kind of camaraderie and goodwill amongst thieves and a goodwill amongst Americans, like a coming together and a kind of remembering of what the country was about. So I think the star card coming in, Four of Cups, would denote that there's still some difficulty between the two camps. This is likely due to the fact that there's a feeling here that the Republicans have that they're being left behind. But it's weird because Biden takes really good care of the Republicans. You know, if Biden's card comes in, the Republicans and the red states will benefit from these packages. So the conclusion I would have from this is that, yes, the infrastructure bill will pass despite opposition from the Republicans. Look at this. But ultimately, Biden wins. He's the final outcome. There is some concern. They are talking about frugality, which is kind of an interesting thing to see there, because they weren't frugal when Trump was in office. But yeah, I think it'll pass. Thank you, Daphne Berry, for the donation. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Christopher. Very, very kind of you to donate. And thank you to Mercedes Cauldron for the donation, and to Joanne Maurer for the donation. It's very kind of you. So I can't really get a date on it, but you know the feeling you get when you go into this remote, it's a feeling that it's almost like a feeling of goodwill towards human beings. There's a feeling of a desire to come together, enjoy creating good things for the nation. That's the best way to describe where we're headed. And I think the reason why is because there's so much suspicion on the part of both Democrats and Republicans. What are you gonna do to me? What are you gonna do to me? What are you gonna do to me? Oh, they're gonna take this money and then they're gonna hurt us. They're gonna take this money. Oh, you're gonna take this money and create jobs in all 50 states. Oh, well, in that case, that's the shift that I'm starting to see happen. We have to come together as a nation, and I think that we're gonna see more of that as more and more Americans get back to work. That's my prediction for that. Crazy, huh? Thank you for the $5 donation, Adventure Spirit. That's very kind of you. And I like the oh, is that a new picture you put up? I don't remember seeing your picture there. Nice. Thank you, Greeter TK. Okay, so this next question comes from the Face Painter. Glad to see you here. Can you tell us about the volcano and how the Caribbean will cope? Yes, I'm actually curious about that. If we're going to see an eruption or it's wild. Have you seen the film footage? It's like exploding and let's use the cat tarot. I love the cat tarot. And thank you to the person that mailed me 2 Hershey chocolate bars. I've very much enjoyed eating them. Especially the one with almonds. Okay. You know what's interesting when you go into this? I'm getting the impression that a lot of people are cautiously observing it with some kind of scientific fascination here. Like, oh, what do we have going on here? There's a kind of a science to this. Yeah, we're going to see more violent eruptions happening. Unfortunately, the Knight of Swords can be violent and disruptive, so we are going to see some more activity. The King of Cups is the bridge over troubled water, so I always think of it as like calm and steady. People are trying to stay calm. The world is watching, right? It's just like this calm observation. 2 of Cups would denote some kind of assistance or communication between the world and the community. And then the final outcome, Knight of Swords, boom, 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 right? Aggressive. Well, could indicate that we're going to see more disruptions. Let's put another 4 down. There's going to be some violent disruption and we're going to see more activity, but it's not going to result in probably any deaths or anything. I don't see death or anything because the final outcome is the Knight of Cups. It's more a lot of shaking and explosions and probably some more activity. But Queen of Swords with a King of Cups, these are very stable cards. They're very, the person who's in control of the situation, very in touch with the 4 of Wands, building some kind. I get the impression that there's this ability. They've got a way to deal with it in the event of an emergency. I'm not getting like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? It's not that kind of a feeling. This is a feeling like we have a plan if it happens. If we have to escape, we're set up in the event of an emergency. We'll have enough time, but we don't think that that's going to happen. That's basically what it looks like. Interesting, huh? Very, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I live next to a volcano, so I mean, I've seen volcanoes blow up and do their thing, and um, my boyfriend came for a visit a while back when I was a med student, and he was walking along the Willamette with me, and he looked over at a mountain, which was Mount St. Helen, and it had gone off, and there were big puffs of smoke coming out, and he just casually looks over and says, "Wow, the way that cloud is over that mountain, it almost looks like a volcanic eruption." And then it dawned on us as we were walking, "Oh, we're witnessing a volcanic eruption." So that was kind of funny. It we watched it, it went on for about a month exploding, and then nothing happened, but it was kinda cool to watch it. I have to get some water. Grab some water. We're casual on this show. Oh, did we have another question? Oh, yeah, Prince Philip's. So, regarding the passing of Prince Philip, did I say thank you to Carrie Stewart yet? And Lavette Columbia, welcome to the Empath Journey. Thank you. I did a remote on the Queen last month when Harry and Meghan did their interview, and people had asked if I could try and connect with the Queen as a remote viewer, get some feedback about the interview, etc. And when I went into the remote for Queen Elizabeth, she wasn't really focused on Harry and Meghan. She said that her husband was dying and that all of her attention was on the fact that her husband was dying. When I went further into the remote, after he had passed, it looked like his immune system had been wiped out. They may have given him some IgG therapy, some immunotherapy. It almost looked like they had sent him home to die. They wanted him to die peacefully at home. It wasn't something public, but it almost looked like they pumped him up with immunosupportive therapy so that he could be photographed in the car going home, but that he had been brought home to die, basically. There was very little that they could do because based on the remote, he didn't have much of an immune system left. And so what happens as we age, if we don't have an immune system left, is that the viruses and the bacteria take over and we simply have no resistance. And that unfortunately looks like what happened with Prince Philip. And the energy of the Queen was, my priority is to deal with this and the fact that he's coming home and that his immune system's gone and we want to make him comfortable and we think he's going to be passing soon. And then he did pass. So that's where her focus was. The other thing I felt from the remote was that I felt as the Queen that I was completely lost and that I could not continue with my public duties. And so we may see her stepping back from many of her official duties, and Charles will be asked to start doing more and more of her official duties as we begin to transition towards the new monarchy, which is Charles. And I did see Charles becoming the new monarch. It also felt like it was very shocking to the family that they were shocked into the reality. They knew this was coming. They knew that the Queen would be stepping down from her public duties. I don't know what's going to happen to the Queen at the age of 97 if she meant that she would completely step down at the age of 97 from all public duties, but we're moving in that direction. She does not want to do, she's not going to be doing the public stuff anymore that much. It's going to be a very rare thing to see her now. Very, very rare. And expect to see a lot more of Charles as they begin to accept the fact that they now have to begin to prepare for this transition. And that's what it felt like. So Charles is stepping up. He'll be doing more official dates. The Queen will be stepping down from many of her public duties. And yeah, I do feel very lost because this was her partner of something like 70 years. So it is a feeling of being lost a little bit. Lost and wanting to step back and accepting the fact that I have to step back and accepting the fact that Charles has to start taking on a more public role. That's where we're at. Life goes on, right? Life goes on. All right. Here's a question from Stephanie. What do you think teachers and kids have doing this past year? We have been working. It may not meet the GOP want, but they do meet education's needs. I'm having a hard time understanding Stephanie's question. I think that a lot of students are tactile learners. I know I am. I can't learn by being talked to or even reading a book. I'll read it and then forget and I'll really understand it, then close it. This is something that happened to me in medical school. And then if you were to ask me what I just read, I don't remember. I might have my memory jarred if I took a choice, multiple choice test. But for me, teaching it, showing it, actually having the teacher there, being shown tactile. I have to touch things. I'm very tactile. So if it were me and I were in this situation as a student doing all my classes online, I would feel better if I could do summer school for 2-3 months and just review everything. And I think a lot of people feel that way in answer to that question. Oh yeah, she doesn't need to go. Yeah, Megan, no, Megan needs to stay home. Okay. All right, we're ready to move on with more questions. If people want to move on to another Blitz question, you can start sending your questions in. We'll switch to the Whimsy deck, I think, next. Thank you, Maxine, for that donation. Let me see if I have any questions here I missed. Let's see. Am I missing any questions here? Oh, here's a good question. Here's a question from Debbie Ives. Will DC and Puerto Rico be states and ditch mansion and cinema? Those are kind of two questions, aren't they? Let's look at the future of DC. Is DC going to become a state? And then we'll do Puerto Rico. There's a star over DC with an inverted 10 of Pentacles. Interesting, because that's it's a legacy card. 8 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, 4 of Rods. You know, there are a lot of, it almost looks like academics, intellectuals, scholars, lawyers, constitutional types looking at, they're very seriously working at making this happen, but it will not come easily with a 10 of Rods as an outcome. Wow, I don't know. You know, maybe not right away. I don't see a definite yes. I don't see a definite yes on Washington D.C. becoming a state anytime soon. Thank you, Camilla, for that gracious donation. It's much appreciated. A judgment card straight up, 10 of Rods. Star card is there, which would receive an anointing. 10 of Pentacles, not the legacy. I think there's going to be a lot of resistance. I think the Republicans don't want that because DC is a Democratic town. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to take 3 cards. You know, they may start to establish a really strong foundation with people that are advocating for DC as a state. And it looks, the thing that's a little scary to me that I'm feeling is that the Republicans are now not losing a lot of their corporate sponsorship, right? Delta, Coca-Cola, Home Depot are bailing. And instead, they're now going over to the Democratic Party. So the Republican Party is saying, okay, we'll just be the party of the blue collar because we no longer have the same corporate sponsorship. What you see with DC is old DC money. So now the old DC money is going towards the Democratic Party. And it's a relationship between old DC money and the Democratic Party and how deeply embedded they are in politics in DC. And that seems to be that it's a little disturbing to see that being what's the foundation of trying to get DC to be a state. Yeah, so that's kind of how I see it, but it will take a long time. I just want to check Puerto Rico next. Puerto Rico. It's interesting. Not everybody in Puerto Rico seems to have the same ideas about where they want Puerto Rico to go. 7 of Cups, everybody's going in a different direction. So everybody's not on the same page about what they want from Puerto Rico. Magician card, power, but there's a 5 of Swords walking away from a battle they can't win. Again, I don't see Puerto Rico becoming a state, unfortunately, anytime soon. Yeah, not yet, unfortunately. Okay. We had another really interesting question here. This question is coming from Paula Ellis. I thought it was a good one. What's the future health of the Pacific Ocean now that Japan has dumped all of the Fukushima radiation into it? Boy, isn't that a... Yeah, let's take a look at that. I'll use the universal Rider-Waite for that. Future health of the Pacific Ocean. The scientists are fighting. The future is very good. The future is very bright. It looks like there's going to be collective efforts under Biden to clean up the environment pretty aggressively, too. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Pacific. You can see here there was fighting. People were walking off the job, discussed. There was a lot of disagreements about how to handle the problem. Then the sun comes in, which can be a card that denotes awareness, knowledge, exchange of ideas, in the sense that the sun is when the light bulb comes up. It's also a sunny, bright, positive card. King of Cups is Biden's card, and then the wish card, the Nine of Cups. So I think that one of the great things about this administration is that it's going to be pouring a ton of money into organizations that are cleaning up the coast. That seems to be what the cards are suggesting. I'll do a clarification. Yeah, strength you can see coming in. We did a lot of damage. We did a lot of damage. There's a lot of damage, a lot of heartache, a lot of hard work, a lot of disappointment, a lot of starts and stops. But the fact that the outcome was the Nine of Cups leads me to think that, yes, we will save ourselves. I always see us saving ourselves, but it's a slow process. 250 years of reconstructing the world in our image, but it's a safe, clean, healthy world. It's almost like we're beginning a period in the planet's in the evolution of the planet. It looks almost like 250 years of serious construction, creating this world that the idea is that we should expand the goodness into infinity. That's our function. We are consciously aware of our function in the world as children of Gaia, children of this life force on this planet, and that is to take this life force and expand it into infinity, the love and the goodness into infinity. That's the tikkun olam in Hebrew, the fixing of the world. And the next 250 years will be very, very productive. There will be starts and stops. There'll be dictators. There'll be people that don't want to cooperate. There'll be the Putins of the world. But it will happen. That's what we see. Hey, very, very interesting. Yeah, Jackie, that's what people are saying. They're saying that they're in conflict about whether or not DC should be neutral or if it should be a state. That is, in fact, what the argument is. So what do y'all think, huh? Interesting salon today. Is everybody having some nice brunches? What's everybody eating? Looks like we're just about on the hour. I usually take a little mini break here and talk to people, ask how they're doing. People rush to the restroom. Somebody said, why can't you just take your phone into the restroom with you? Not everybody's watching me on their phone. Some people are watching me on their TVs. It also gives me an opportunity to take a little break, talk to you. So we're taking our mini break. Noon, take 2 minutes to just hang. We have an interesting comment here from Foggy Ozark Gem. She writes, are people geared towards spirituality and getting sustainable and developing a relationship with Mother Earth? Or are we more brainwashed into materialism, not to mention deception, hate, fear than ever? What do y'all think? I mean, I think that's is it the worst of times and the best of times? I think you're making an important point, Foggy. Like some people are completely out of touch while other people seem like they're really getting it. Thank you, Laura Carlson, for that generous donation. Certainly something to think about. The internet, yeah, because the internet can either be your friend or your enemy if you don't know how to use the internet. If you don't know how to fact check, if you don't know how to look at data, then it can become your worst enemy. Yes, Elaine Goad, many people agree with you that we do need to make DC a state. Other people say no, it should remain neutral. All right, we're going to go back to doing some blitzes. We got a nice question here from Alice Robbins about the future of the Supreme Court. Evidently, according to what I've been reading, it looks like Joe Biden is seriously contemplating stacking the court. What do y'all think? Do you think it would be a good idea to stack the court, or do you think that's going to create a negative precedent for the country if we start doing that? I don't know. Let's take a look. Thank you, Serafina. Thank you, Kuduziala, as well. You're amazing as well. Thank you. All right. Will the future Supreme Court be stacked? Oh, didn't I see one? You know what? I'm going to do 12 cards for this. Didn't I see that? Didn't we throw on this once and Biden was going to add a 10th man or something like that? Didn't we see something like that? Let's take a look. I'm going to do all 12 cards because I'm just so curious about this. The future of the Supreme Court. Will it be stacked? Will it... There's going to be resistance. I mean, you look at the karma card, 8 of Wands, to fight back. The base of the matter, the scholars, yeah, they're definitely looking at whether or not they can legally do this because that's a scholar's card. I don't know. Wow. There's the courts. Or the Hierophant or the ethos, the Constitution. I think they're looking at the constitutionality of what they can and can't do because this is an expert's card and this is the Constitution and being foolish. So there is a feeling here of being foolish, potentially the experts defending the Constitution, foolish behavior, what is above us, the work, what sits below us, also the 10th man, Temperance, Page of Cups. I think Thomas might be leaving. I think Breyer also, and both of them are conservative. Isn't Breyer conservative as well? I could be wrong about that. I think that we're going to see two people leaving, Breyer and Thomas, possibly both of them retiring in the next couple years. There's a celebration. We're going to be celebrating in the courts, so the courts will be balanced. There's a new woman that's going to be on the court. Biden's going to put a woman on the Supreme Court. In fact, I see 2 women on the Supreme Court. 2 more women. He's going to stack the court with, he's stacking the courts with women, strong women. You can see it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and predict that we're going to see 2 justices retire in the next 2 to 3 years. Most likely it's going to be Breyer and Thomas. And I think we're going to see 2 more women on the Supreme Court. And very possibly they're going to stack it so that there'll be a 10th. So that means at least 2, possibly 3 new members of the Supreme Court under Biden. Right. Colleen Tressler makes an important point. I'll go ahead and pin that. Thank you, Colleen. She writes that the number of justices is not described in the Constitution. It has been higher in the past. Biden has the right to increase the number, but there will always be criticism and resistance from the GOP. Good point. This looks like they're looking at the legalities and possibly legal obstruction with those types of cards. So, good point. Very good point. You know, we spent the entire hour plus not talking about number 45. Did you all notice that? Wasn't that an incredibly pleasant hour? 45 did not come up, but alas, he's here. Maxine Rosala asked, what's the time frame for 45? And his gang finally going to court. Let's go ahead and throw on that. We'll start with DT first. Isn't this fun? Now admit it. You could go and hang with your friends and have brunch. Or you could create a nice brunch at your home, invite your friends to join you. You could make mimosas, and you could all sit around and hang out with me. I'm the best person to have brunch with. I love brunch. Just ask Cash Peters. He's had brunch with me a couple times. All right. The future of DT in the coming weeks. Oh. Brunch. I love brunch. Don't you just love hanging with? What are you all having for brunch, by the way? You want to see my brunch? I always have the same brunch. You guys know me. Y'all know what this is. This is my brunch. Orac protein and greens with mixed berries, oat milk. I threw some flax and banana in there. Delish. 24 servings of fruits and vegetables every morning. Keeps me young and sexy. Steel cut oats. Love oats, Pora. Yeah, I usually have that. Then I do my Blitz. Like my tradition for the last 2.5 years is to make that, read the Times, have a cup of coffee, make my smoothie. And then I have brunch with you folks. It's kind of like, well, that's my tradition. This is my Sunday tradition, is that I have brunch with you all. And then we talk about what we're eating. We talk about politics. Most of us have read the Huffington Post that morning, or we've read the Times. And we just always get together, and this is what we do. It's kind of cool. I'm going to be doing this 20 years from now. There are going to be people that I've been having brunch with Whimsy for 20 years. Oof, oof, ouch, oof, ouch, ooh, ow, ooh, ow, ooh, ooh, ow, ooh, ooh, boo, boo. That's all I can say. I don't know what else I can say. Ow, ow, boo, boo. That's how I feel when I look at Trump's cards. Let's go in. Let me show you this. Breyer is a little bit, yeah, but he's getting old. He actually said last year he was thinking of retiring. Yeah, so we'll have one conservative leaving and one, oh, waffles, yummy. Oh, Foggy Ozark, that's so beautiful. Thank you for the art. I love it when you guys create art for me. So beautiful. Oh, it's gorgeous. All right, so yeah, he's in trouble. One of the things that's coming up for DT number 45 is you can see that the prosecution is working and they're developing a pretty strong case against him. 10 of Wands, developing the case. Merrick Garland has said that January 6th is his number one priority. So many people are cooperating. So many of the people are turning state's evidence against the Proud Boys, Boogaloo Boys, et cetera, et cetera. They're now getting a lot of cooperation. You can see here, foolish, and what's going to get him in trouble is the money. You can see he was greedy, harvesting the money. He made foolish decisions regarding how he made his money, and eventually it caught up with him. You can see it's over here. There's a stopgap, and then there's grief coming. He thought he was going to break the law. Look at this. Things were going great for this guy for a really long time, but basically, I think the courts just caught up with him. Look at this. Here's the courts. It's his money. It's his fine. It's his. It's Alan Weisselberg and everybody else. It's the corruption of what he did with his money. Not just him, but a lot of people that were taking money overseas. Roger Stone, etc. And you can see victory with the police, the conflict, and then here comes the raid. So I'm going to go ahead and predict that we're going to start seeing some activity in the next week and a half to 2 weeks regarding this case. And it has to do with theft, accusations of theft. He's being accused of some form of theft. You can see here attempting to flee, a police raid, theft. This is a card associated with victory when one has gone to battle, Ace of Swords, death and transformation of the situation. And here is 45 going to court. I think that something is going to come up between him and his family facing court, probably in the next, probably in less than 2 weeks. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's being accused of theft and possibly being charged with something that has to do with theft. So is that RICO? I don't know. I don't know much about the law, to be honest with you. You all know more about this than I do. What did Joanne Sands say here? Money laundering got to be in there too. Yeah. Is money laundering a form of theft? If you're hiding money so you can avoid taxes, that would be technically theft. That's kind of how I would interpret it. You know, I've been getting a really strong hits on Don Jr., and I don't know why. I'm just curious. Let's look at Don Jr. Y'all feeling like some strong energy around Don Jr.? Am I the only empath that's feeling like something's going to go down with him? Him and his kids? Tax fraud. Thank you, Marie Hansen. Yeah. They're using imagery of theft. Now, if you don't pay your taxes, who have you stolen from? You've stolen from the American people, right? That's theft. It's not his money. Billions, trillions of dollars leave the United States. Billions of dollars leaving the United States every year through cryptocurrency. That's your money. That's my money. I'm being stuck paying $25,000 in taxes, and this. Why? Because Whimsy has to pay for them because they're not paying. So that is why it's theft. It's theft from me, it's theft from you, it's theft from everyone else that's stuck paying the taxes because they're not paying them. So I want to look at Don Jr. Is everybody having a nice brunch? Is everybody okay? Yeah. Don Jr. Entrepreneurship, new contract. He might be thinking of marrying his girlfriend, even though I don't think they're doing very well. But there's something here about a potential second marriage for him. Overseas business, right? Strong. What is above him? Ten of Swords. He's about to be betrayed by somebody. Look at that. He's got a betrayal card in his fourth house. Someone is about to betray him. The coin. Yeah, someone's actively working against him, somebody he trusts. He gets his wish, the sun comes out, the hope and fear, the final outcome, the King of Swords. I think he's nervous about a potential betrayal, that he knows that someone is actively working against him and his family. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Somebody in his family is now working against the family. You can see the lovers over Trump. Somebody has betrayed the family. Fear of jail. This is Ivanka's card. There could be a falling out between Ivanka, Don Jr., and Donald Trump, possibly, and we could see a severing of their relationship, or I'm seeing them separating. Something's going on between the Kushners, Trump, and Don Jr., and it's very strange. I'm going to go in and look at, I got to look at Ivanka because this is looking really weird to me. Doesn't that look weird? It's almost like Ivanka and Jared said, well, it would benefit us more to just throw you all under the bus and just go take care of ourselves. It almost looks like that. Isn't that weird? That, like, would she do that to her own brother? She would, like, no. Oh, why would his fear be Ivanka? Does that make no sense, right? Isn't that weird? Ivanka and Jared. No, I didn't expect that. Very weird. That was very surprising. This family is going to be torn apart by the end of this. Celebration, patience, negotiation. Ace of Swords. She's victorious regarding a conflict that she is having. There's a celebration or karma card here. What is above her? The sun is coming out. I see her testifying. I see her deposed, and I see her having to testify, possibly against her own family in a court. That's what I'm seeing. She's going to be a star witness in some court case. There it is. She's ending her. She will possibly end her relationship with her family as a result of this. Yeah, not good. I see a potential end of the relationship with Ivanka and her family. It's very sad, but that's what's starting to happen. And potentially she'll have to make a decision and testify. What's interesting is that when you go into the energy of her testifying, it's almost as if her argument is that her father, pardon the Freudian slip, it almost looks like she's testifying that her father began to show signs of mental degeneration, and she and Jared were concerned about the fact that 45 had begun to show signs of Alzheimer's or dementia or other mental decline. And she's saying here in the remote that she felt powerless, her and her husband, to do anything about it. And they were concerned that certain people, predatory people, were taking advantage of her elderly father, who she's saying here began to show real evidence of mental decline. And so she's arguing here that the reason she's testifying, quote unquote, against him is to help him by, even though it's not what Trump wants, it's kind of like a Hail Mary. He's not right in his mind. He's suffering from mental decline. He's not all that right in his head. And that's why I had to make the extreme decision to go against I went against my father to save my father, because my father is showing signs of mental decline and I'm genuinely afraid for him. This is the argument. And that's why she turns on him, because she can no longer support his crazy behavior, and his mental decline is scaring her. That's what she's saying. Okay. What do y'all think? Yeesh. A little bit of truth to it, maybe partially biased. There's some truth to it, but it's also true she's taking care of herself by being a witness, right? On the one hand, 45 doesn't want the whole world to think that he's some old person who can't think anymore. On the other hand, his daughter's saving his life because she's giving him an out. You can't prosecute him. He's not right in his mind. You see what I'm saying? So that is the break we're seeing between the Kushners and 45. Interesting. His health. Testifying about his health. That's what happened. You know, she doesn't think her father is mentally well. She thinks he's become increasingly insane. And Kushner's people, they've basically slowly separated from him, and they're hiding with their crowd, their lawyers, etc., and preparing that if they're going to have to testify, that's what they're going to say. Yeah, it is a way out of jail. You know, we don't put people with Alzheimer's in jail. And when they do get Alzheimer's, it's usually, if you go before a probation board, seniors will get released from prison when it gets to that point. Because there's just no point to put someone like that in prison. And that's basically what his daughter is saying in her testimony. She's basically testifying in this remote that she witnessed um, behavior from him, that he's bloody bonkers, basically. Yeah, I think that he's always had mental health problems, but I think what Ivanka is saying is true, and I think that when our parents get old and start to get crazy and loopy and do crazy things, like January 6th was proof that the way he behaved after he got COVID, and now they're saying half the people with that type of COVID have brain damage. So this is a pretty strong court case that if she present, like, the guy is not right in his mind. He's got Alzheimer's, he's got dementia, he's got brain damage post COVID. What are you going to do to the guy? It's a good argument. It's a good argument. Hi, Sheila. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it a day pretty soon. If anybody has a couple more questions for me, we can we'll do one or two more blitzes, and then I guess we'll call it a day. So are we on for 6 p.m. tonight for people who want to take HCRV class 2, since we weren't able to meet yesterday? Y'all want to meet today at 6 p.m. my time? Or do you want it to be a little earlier? Either way is fine. I want to throw on Navalny. Usually I post my address. Someone's asking about my address on my channel with it's about this channel. It'll say who I am, how to book appointment. It's just my name at gmail.com. It's pretty easy. Okay, so we're meeting today for the second class. If you did not turn homework in for class 1, don't worry about it. If you want to get certified, all you have to do is 10 homework assignments so that we can say you registered for 10 class hours. So I can certify you if you've done 10 class hours. If you didn't do the first homework assignment, don't worry about it. You can just do the next one. Okay, so I want to look at Navalny, and then we'll look at Michael Flynn. But let's look at Navalny because I'm kind of worried about him. I don't know if I spelled that right. We'll do 4 cards on Navalny. He's very powerful, Navalny. Look at that. His first card is the Magician. In a way, they don't really know what to do with him. There's some real confusion. Do we kill him? Do we poison him? Do we? 7 of Cups is confusion. 2 of Swords. This guy is a true believer. Look, even if he were to die, the work continues. That would be, look. I don't, if this person is poisoned or physically dies or something like that, it's not coming up in these cards. It's almost like Putin leaves and people like Navalny end up in power again in Russia. Russia's really it's really lost its center. It feels like it's lost its center. I think the time of Putin is coming to an end. That's how it feels. It feels like, despite the fact that Putin is trying to hold on to his power, there's also some stuff he's trying to do in the Bering Strait. If you're looking at trade routes, we've done some remote viewings on trade routes. I'm a little concerned about what he's doing in the Bering Strait because it almost looks like underground military bases, underwater military bases, 3 underwater military bases when I remote viewed it. So if you're looking at what Putin's trying to do in the Bering Strait, you've got Alaska, you've got Greenland. It almost looked like with Putin, he had 3 locations underwater where he was trying to move trade through the Bering Strait, and then you had Alaska. My concern with Putin is that these underwater military bases he's creating, that he's trying to weaponize with nuclear weapons, it almost is like a lasso of him holding it's like he's lassoing us in and trying to control the waters here. The Bering Strait, the northern area, up into trade, Alaska here. All this area, it's almost like holding us in, and we physically and weapons underwater. That's my concern about Putin. But when you go what he's trying to create, we're very vulnerable militarily in that area because the ice is melting, and he was the first Russia to go in and try and establish what looks like permanent underwater bases. That's the best way to describe it. 3 of them in those areas. However, when you follow the energy for the future of Russia, it's not violent or disruptive. It seems like it's a time of intellectuals, the masters, the scientists. It's a time of production, intellect, etc. That's going to start happening in Russia, rather than violence. That's basically how it looks. Okay, there was one more question we were going to do before we called it a day. My cat's snoring. Okay. Yeah, it's all about trade, and it's always been about trade and blocking trade, but that's kind of interesting. When you look at Russian troops in the Ukraine. Yeah, it's interesting about Russian troops in the Ukraine because as a remote viewer, I was more concerned with what he was doing in the Bering Strait and about these 3 military bases that looked like they were underwater. He wants to have these megaton nuclear weapons being shot. And so it's almost like, excuse me, it's almost like we're being locked in. We can't physically, because he's pointing weapons at us from that location, or he's going to try to. So that's for us, the Americans, that's how the most vulnerable area for us potentially going forward with Russia. Thank you, Marie. All right, we'll do one more reading, and it's going to be on the health of the Dalai Lama. That sounds like it's interesting. How's the Dalai Lama doing? I'm not seeing anything like, I'm not seeing anything for the Dalai Lama like physical death or anything like that. Sun, good in a good place. King of Cups, he remains the bridge over troubled water. There's a Seven of Cups here. I know he retired from his public duties, which could indicate with a Seven of Cups a little bit of confusion about his role going forward. The clarification. Yeah, he's out of politics. I mean, I kind of agree with him. He's gone through kind of a spiritual evolution. He believes in the separation of church and state. That's one of the reasons why he retired. He wanted them to create a constitution and a democracy and that people could vote. And he felt like his job needed to be more of spiritual encouragement, but should be separate from the future Tibetan parliament. And that was the thing that broke the Dalai Lama away from the parliament when they created the new quote unquote constitution to retire the Dalai Lama. He started to really have moral and ethical problems with the fact that Tibet did not have separation of church and state. He can still be the Dalai Lama. He can still be a spiritual force in the world, encouraging people, but his future as a politician is what he doesn't feel it should be a political role, and I agree with him. It should be a spiritual role, and people should vote for their parliament. So that was the decision that they made. But his spiritual work is still quite strong, which is all he wants to do anyway. Nice sun card with a nice 10 of cups, happy in the garden, lovers. He's also working to help people communicate better. So he's the great mediator, right? The lovers, getting people who may not telling people how to vote, but just getting people who don't agree with one another to come together like our salon and talk. That's how he is of service. He doesn't always know what the decisions are that certain people in the parliament, et cetera, are making. He says it's too complicated for him. But he just prays for them and he supports them. But again, it's about this separation of the roles, two separate jobs, two separate roles. But he still looks quite healthy here with these cards. All right, that was fun. Nice to check on His Holiness. All right, I want to thank everybody for spending another great brunch with me. The Dalai Lama is pure joy. Absolutely, Terry. 100%. Well, he felt like he was being forced to be a political person, and it was destroying him. I mean, he couldn't take it anymore. He said, they said, we have to redo the Constitution. He said, don't even talk to me about it. That's between you people. It's like, I just want to be a monk. But it's good. It's good. He feels that it's good for the evolution of Tibet. It does need to be a democracy, right? Because he believes in democracy. All right, love and light to everybody. I'll see if you're taking the HCRV class. I'll see you at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bring your notes to Target. All right, love and light, everyone. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.